Hello, distinguished audience. You're welcome to another podcast series here on Digital Being Paid Podcast. And we are so excited. Once again, with my intern, thank you so much for listening to the last series that we had last month. And now we are in another month. And yes, it's going to wrap up his internship. Yeah, actually next year, but he's not going to be doing podcast with us next year. So this is like a wrapping up of all this podcast series. So how do you feel, Tochukwu? Like, how do you feel working with the brand? How do you feel with the podcast series? Like, just share your experiences. Let them know.
As always, it has been really, really great. One of the things I always had issues with was sometimes doing things. I find it difficult doing things sometimes head on first without any form of direction. You understand? And I looked around and you were able to give me the opportunity that, to help me charge on and be able to design. And I really love the progress that I have been making, especially on this last part, on this design that I did now. I love how easy it came and how easy I just got it, and then I feel good. It's something wonderful to know that I can do, and it's all because of you and your brand, and I'm very, very happy for that.
Yeah, I'm also very happy for the fact that I remember when you started, and I said I look forward to the amazing creative things that you're going to deliver, and you actually delivered this for 3 months. You were very excellent. People could see it. I even shared a screenshot on the group. One of my colleagues, a journalist, applaud your effort, applauded your hard work because he said that many interns who he has worked with don't have this level of consistency that you have showed. Even when I was outside the country, I traveled to other places in Nigeria, you were still showing up. And many people were looking out for you. Like they were looking out for some of your content. And I even noticed that other people who were following me on social media on X, they were also following you. That is to tell you that they
Yes.
commend you for what? Your consistency. And that is something that I am so extremely proud of you. I'm proud of your growth. I am proud of your improvement. I am proud of the fact that you are also earning from it. And I like I
Thank
said
you.
in the other podcast, you are going places. Just keep
Thank you.
pushing. And thank you so much for being an asset to the company. Because when you did that YouTube intro, see how I'm using it on my videos. You have added
Yes.
so much value and so much impact, and I'm very grateful. And I like the fact that I'm one person who I don't like to give all credit to myself. When I see people do their work, I give credit to who deserve credit, and truly, you deserve your credit. So thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. You're very welcome. So yeah, we are moving to the series for today, which is a coaching series. And I think in the last series we did what a sports series, and Tochukwu came with so much fire. But today is definitely going to come with another energy. But this time we are going to be talking about my book. And as you guys all know, we know every coaching series we talk about my book, A Simple Life. And yes, the hard copy is no longer available, like I said, but you can get the ebook copy on Stephanie on Seller. It's going to be on the description um, box. So kindly click on that link and support me. And I also want to use this opportunity to thank people that have supported me. I want to thank Jenny Alexander from United States. I don't know her, but I just love the fact that she has been a very huge fan of my career for the past 9 years. She has been following up on me, and I don't even know her from Adam. But thank you, Jenny, for supporting me. I was so surprised when I saw her pay my book in dollar. Like I was extremely surprised because the people I wasn't expecting that they're gonna support. They didn't do that. It was someone I didn't even know from Adam, though she's my Facebook friend. But
That's true.
thank you so much, Jenny. And another person who bought my book was during my birthday, Mayowa. Thank you so much. Mayomi, yes, Oluwa Mayomi. Thank you for buying my book on my birthday. Thank you for the love and the support you have shown to acknowledge my work and acknowledge the fact that I was marketing my book to you and you still bought it in Nigerian currency. So we are going to talk about chapter 3, which is series 3. Be positive about life. So Tochukwu, what can you say about that?
I will first go with the quote here by Tom Thomas that says, "My mama always said, life is a box of chocolate. You never know what you are going to get. And that is just what describes life. You know, you take actions and you get the results of those actions every single time. So sometimes it's not just by what we choose or what we decided or consciously chose. It's just by what we subconsciously or what just happened to us. And if you keep focusing on the bad part, then you probably drown. So it's always important to just be at a positive.
Yeah, that's very beautiful. Thank you so much for the intro. I can see that you're following up on the script. Yeah, I really appreciate that. So, like you said, just like the quote says, let's move on. You don't expect life to always be sweet without being bitter. People want the good things, neglecting negative aspect that will happen in this life. No matter how life treats you, you have to be positive towards it, even when there is no money. And sometimes it might frustrate you. You still want to lose hope, thinking all is lost. You just need to pick up from where you started from and move on with your kind of life. So, Tochuku, you can continue from where I stopped.
Okay. My kind of person is someone that believes in being positive about life. Whatever I'm going through, I believe that there is hope and a way for me. A positive individual is someone who doesn't allow the world and the words of people pull you down from making your dreams or succeeding in life. You should see it as a challenge that will make you become better. According to Boniface Ezema, a sub-editor of Punch newspaper in 1976, his opinion about being positive in life, he said he has hope about life. Right from my secondary school, it has not been easy. Money was not forthcoming in those days. I go on reading, believing things will get better.
Wow, thank you so much. So, what can you say in the reading of the book from the first
Well,
page?
I can always say yes, life will not always be sweet. I mean, for some reason, bad things happen. No matter how we try, understand, bad things happen. And anytime we let those things happen, anytime we let the thought of them or the idea that they happen always consume us, it will definitely make us lose a lot more. So instead of, doing things that will make you lose hope, that will necessarily gain you nothing, you just try to see the positive part, that thing that will always help you push forward. I really like the version. It just explains a lot. Just
Exactly.
explains a lot.
Yeah. And even as an author of my book, I also personalize it by saying my kind of person is someone that actually believe in being positive about life. I look at my journey of my business. When I started this journey of building this agency, I started in the year 2016. And I can tell you that it has not been 100% rosy. I started moving from one place to another, doing private teaching, doing DJ job, doing modeling jobs. You know, what are the jobs that I did not do? Fixing a phone, flashing a phone,
Wow.
downloading. Do you understand? Repairing
Yeah,
people's
yeah, yeah.
computer. I've gone through a lot of phases in my career where I feel like if there's anything that should actually pull some people down, would definitely be my experiences. Even my childhood experiences that are actually in this book, that when people read it, will be like, wow, you were able to still stand resilient, even despite facing a lot in your childhood memories, your childhood
Yes.
years. And I can tell you for a fact that many people, when they lose their jobs, I lost my job as well in COVID. But the
Wow.
moment I lost my job in COVID 2020, that was the beginning of making my business full time for 5 years now. Though it's 9 years, okay? But I want to use this as an opportunity to encourage somebody who right now feels like I've lost my job, I've lost some certain things, whatever it is that you feel that is making you not to be positive about life. You need to understand that when there is life, there is what? There is hope. So look at it on the other bright side. You have good health, you have a roof over your head, you are eating well, you are drinking well. So what could be the reason why you are not actually positive about life? Everything might not seem forthcoming, but you need to understand that life sometimes, when challenges comes, it is only temporarily. There's a scriptural message that says God can never give you a challenge that He knows you cannot be able to handle. God knows that these challenges is going to build you to reaching a certain level in your life where when it comes, it's just going to be like a new thing. It's just going to be like an ordinary thing. But you know that deeply, this thing is extraordinary. This thing have hurt you. This thing have pulled you down. But yet, you
Yes.
are still what? Standing strong. And now, when we look at finances, many of us have had several challenges where we got out of so many things that we could not be able to afford some certain things, right? We could not be able to afford some certain things. But look at now, we are able to still take care of ourselves, cater for our bills. I remembered in my convocation day, I didn't have money. I didn't even have 1,000 naira in my account. Did I have the opportunity of having a customer that would have paid my money, that would have paid me money to be able to cater? Yes. But I looked at what the customer was offering and I found out that that is one of my financial problems I had. They were paying me less than what I deserved. And the moment I start charging them for what I was worth, it became a problem, right? But I told myself, I said, this phase would definitely pass. And that is one thing I want to tell people. Know your worth and add tax to it. Even though during the process of knowing your worth, you start rejecting jobs, just know one thing. That phase would actually pass. I know I cannot go back and rewrite my convocation chapters and go and buy that beautiful clothes that I want, buy that beautiful shoes, buy everything that I need. But I was very glad that during that series, I had my family to support me financially and still make me feel happy that that day was also one of the most memorable day of my life, and even try as much as possible to gift my lecturers and the rest. So there are so many series like that that I would have loved to share. But I'm sharing this even though I didn't post my convocation pictures on social media, though I can be very socially active, but at the same time, I'm very selective private on what I post. So I'm very sure many people will listen to the podcast and say, Digital Women never posted a convocation. Some people don't even know I've graduated. Some people still think maybe I didn't even, So I understand
Yes.
that aspect. Then I also want to say that Mr. Boniface Ezima, when I interviewed him 4 years or 5 years ago, actually 6 years, I wrote this book in 2019. It was published in 2019. So let's just say probably 6 or 7 years, 6 years, I believe. He was working in the Punch newspaper in 1976. And one thing that made me connect to him was because he was a media person. I am also a media person. And the fact that he shared his experience, that even when he had some money issues and all, he was still very positive about life. So I brought in people to share their stories on the boat so that you as well can be inspired by their what story. So let's move on. So you can read. That is one way of being positive about life.
Okay. That is one way of being positive about life. Even when jobs are not forthcoming, we need to be positive. I remember vividly, I had to travel to England to study and I had no money. I had to leave hoping that something good will come out. It was not all easy. I still remain positive that I will achieve a reasonable success, but one must be careful to draw a line between being hopeful and wishful thinking. We are hopeful when we make reasonable efforts, and of course, we expect to achieve reasonable results. This is a direct opposite of wishful thinking, which many idlers are involved into because they want to reap what they did not plant. Such is not hopeful. Mr. Rotimi Alongi says, looking at life from the purpose God created us, if you are looking that I have to buy a jet, that will be the problem. You need to ask yourself questions. Why am I here? What does God actually want me to do here? There are trials in life which are supposed to help us. If not for those trials, you won't be able to have experiences and make good decisions. Nigerian mentality view of life is all about enjoyment and not fixing solutions, such as rendering services to people in the country. How many people are not going to go to school? How many people are not working? When you are positive about life, you create good things out of it.
Very beautiful. So, what can you say about the second page?
Yes, it's very important differentiating between wishful thinking and being hopeful. It is very, very important. There's a line there, and that line is delusion. So we need to make sure that every simple, reasonable, or hopeful decision we make has a way that we can actually obtain, whether it is working or not. We need to make sure that everything we do is tethered to reality, and we are not just pushing through walls. You understand? It's very, very important. It's very, very important that we make sure that we understand that what needs to be done needs to be done when it needs to be done. And if it is not done, we are not probably going to get what we hope for, what we deserve. So focus
Yeah.
on that.
Exactly. Very beautiful insight. And I want to add that when Mr. Boniface Izima, the former sub-editor of Punch newspaper, shared the story of when he traveled to England, he said he had no money, right? But he was hoping that something good would come out. This is to inspire people who have the vision to travel outside the country and be like, what if I spend all my last card? How am I going to survive over there? I want to encourage you today. I want you to use Mr. Boniface's story as an inspiration that if you're pursuing the means to travel outside the country, wherever country abroad. Yesterday, I was interacting with my friend and I was telling him that abroad is not defined by the fact that you are in US, you're in Canada. Abroad simply means I have left the shores of my country and now abroad. So we need to change the mentality or orientation that abroad is not traveling to African countries, it's only going to the Europe countries, the Asia countries, and all. That is not a right mindset. So we need to rewrite that and know that abroad is abroad. Wherever you're moving, as long as you step outside this country, you have what? Traveled abroad. It doesn't matter which country is way better than the other. The fact is that you have traveled abroad. And whether you do that with your last card, remember that you will surely come out of it and you will come back and testify. So if you have the plan this year to leave the shores of your country and go to the US, go to the Canada, go anywhere you got to go, please go for it. Follow your intuition and we wish you the best. We support you. See, I know it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be rosy. When you were living in Nigeria, it wasn't easy. It wasn't rosy. But if you can survive Nigeria, you can survive any country. All you just have to do is keep your attitude in check, okay? And have the necessary skills and have the necessary preparation to travel, okay? If possible, go for trainings, go for program, reorientate your mindset because Nigerian mindset is different from abroad mindset. Their cultures, their fashion, everything would totally be what? Different. So moving on, I also want to add what Tochukwu said that there is a line between hopeful and wishful thinking. If you're imaginary that I want to do this, I want to do that. Let's say, for instance, I want to buy a car, I want to buy a land, I want to start up my agency, I want to start up my business, I want to go to school, or whatever thinking you are doing. If you are not working towards it, you are definitely just wishing without a result. That was why it says you can be hopeful, but you need to make a reasonable effort. And this is exactly what Tochukwu is doing. You know, he has already planned in his life that I want to go into digital marketing. And he now said, okay, I'm going to learn from it through internship. That is making reasonable effort. And then did he achieve the reasonable result? Yes, he did. So that is using Tochukwu as a case study. Thank God he's even on the podcast. That is using him as a case study. Now, if you have the passion to go to school, right? There is a difference between I want to go to school. You have not started with SSC, you have not done JAM, you have not done university exam. How do you want to fly and go to school. That's a wishful thinking. If you want to be an apprentice, you have not even paid for the fee. You have not even gone to where you want to go and study it. And you're saying you want to be a tailor. How do you want to be a tailor? You need to start working towards it. So whatever thing you're doing, you work towards it. And then believe. And then you're going to achieve it. Now let's move on to Mr. Rotimi Alonge. I'm simplifying this thing as an author because I know a lot of people sometimes when they read, they don't tend to read and understand. So thank God for the idea of podcasts where the author can simply explain it in a way that when you're reading it, you are grasping the concept of what you're reading. Are you with me, Tochukwu? You are actually grasping the content. So when you buy the book, you can use this podcast and be following up on it. Though it's not going to be exactly what is in the book, but it's going to give you an idea of how you should read it and how you should alight the principles. Because when you're reading, take out the principles from it and apply it. That is the essence of reading. You cannot be reading and you are not doing an application. When you read, take out one single thing you can do in your life for good. So like Mr. Rotimi Alonge said, he said, when you look at life as you want to buy a jet, that is a problem. You need to ask yourself questions. And I want to throw back this question at you. Why are you here? That is a question you need to reflect on. Why are you here? What does God actually want you to do here? Because a lot of people don't even understand their purpose of why they are here on this earth. Some people have turned earth as full of enjoyment, full of shino, full of drinking ogogoro. Some people, you will see area boys in the morning, they will be drinking ogogoro. They have even forgotten that there is anything that has to do with purpose. So this podcast is going to reorientate you to go back and reflect. What is that one good thing that God actually wants you to do here on earth? Because trust me, God created everyone, but there is a reason why you were created. You need to go back and ask God through prayers, God, what is it that you want me to do on this earth? Because if you are not doing exactly what God is wanting you to do during Judgment Day, because I know it's going to turn to a Bible preaching now, because I know people say, oh, you have started this preaching, but let's be sincere. During Judgment Day, God is going to ask you, what did you do on this planet earth? How did you save people's soul? So go and find out through praying, and God will show you what he wants you to do on this earth. Because drinking ogogoro and misbehaving is not God's purpose for you. So if you are listening to me and there are things that you are doing that you know that does not align with God's purpose, if your purpose is to preach the word of God, then you have done an achievement. If you are called to be a pastor, that is what God wants you to do. If you are called to be a teacher, that is what God called you to do. If you are called to be a chorister, that is what God called you to do. If you are called to be saving life as a doctor, that is what God called you to do. If God called you to do something and you are doing something else, then you have failed God. So you need to go back and ask our Heavenly Father, God, what is it that you want me to do on this earth? Because you need to make a mark, a footprint. When Jesus Christ came on this earth, he came with a purpose to come and testify of the goodness of what? Our Heavenly Father. And he went around, had disciples, proclaimed the gospel, and what? It is him we are now celebrating this Christmas for his birth. And that is because he made the purpose of God so beautiful. And it is through him that all mankind are saved. So Jesus Christ is a perfect role model for you to look inward. If you need to go and read the Bible, starting from the book of Matthew down to Mark and Luke and Acts, please go and read the Bible. Because in the process of reading the Bible, maybe God will show you vision to know what you're supposed to do on the planet Earth. The next question is, okay, I think that is the question. Okay, so I think I've said a lot. Then I think this is a rhetorical question that says that in Nigeria, we need to change the mentality, like I was saying, of these enjoyment ministers, or the minister of enjoyment that we are doing. It is getting out of hands. Other countries are providing solutions like China, Japan, US. Our own is to be doing minister of enjoyment, showing luxurious lifestyle. This is not exactly what life is about. We need to fix solutions. We need to empower people. Because if you are the only one benefiting, I read a tweet on someone's account, and the guy is